Okay. I'm going to turn it off if you all choose to talk instead of listen.
I'm good.
Just because you want to hear your own voice when you listen to the recording tonight. All right. The directions for this say solve using the zero product property. All right? Which means I set it equal to 0, which gives me this, doesn't it? I factor the left. How does it factor? X minus 6
I think you're good.
x plus 1, and I set each of my parentheses equal to 0, so x equals 6, x equals negative 1. That's what we did first. Everybody know what that means? The second one says solve using the square root property. If I tell you 2x squared minus plus 50 equals 0. Square root means I've got to get the x squared by itself. How do I do that? So 2x squared equals negative 50. X squared equals negative 25. What is x? Plus or minus 5i? Don't forget plus or minus. What? Yes. Remember, it's all fun and games till somebody loses an eye. Or what? Or a plus or minus. Or a plus or minus. All right. Ready? Because I'm going to do a hard one.
I'm ready. Go for it.
The directions for this say solve by completing the square. Okay. First rule was that my coefficient of x squared had to be 1. Is it? So I'm good. Then the second rule was x is on the left, numbers on the right. So x squared plus 8x equals negative 19. Right? Take half of the number in front of 8, in front of x, which is 8. What's half the number? Square it and add it to both sides. So x squared plus 8x plus 16 equals negative 19 plus 16. Right? Now I factor the left. What does it factor into? What?
X plus 4 squared.
Half the number in front of x equals negative 3. Now can I square root both sides? So what is x plus 4 equal to?
Plus or minus I radical 3.
Plus or minus I radical 3.
Don't forget the I. Riley, don't forget the I. I only like it.
Yeah. So you can hear your voice?
I gotta run on myself.
All right. What do I do with the 4? Right. So x equals negative 4. How are people going going to hear me when you all are talking. Plus or minus under Radical 3? Is that okay? Now, what if,
So make sure the i's always on the right. Or can it be like plus or minus I radical 3 minus 4? Can it do that?
yes, well, no, it cannot, because you're right, the real number has to come first. If it wasn't an I, it wouldn't matter. This directions says solve using quadratic formula. Do you remember the quadratic formula?
Plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Booyah.
Oh my gosh.
You guys are hilarious. You're welcome. So here's my problem. What do I do?
Distributing properties.
That's not.
So what do I need this equal to?
0. There you go.
Right? What is A?
1.
What is B? What is C?
4.
34? So, did you put it in your formula?
No.
Yes.
X equals negative 10 plus or minus the radical 100 minus 4 times 1 times 34. All this is over what? 2. No, 2. What do I have? No, you're too far off.
What do you
I want the next step. Is that negative 10 plus or minus? What is this? Radical negative 36 over 2. So don't I have to split that apart? So negative 10 over 2 plus or minus, what is this? 6i over 2, which is negative 5 plus or minus 3i. Right? You know the quadratic formula?
I do.
You do, okay. Good. The directions now. Are you all through being rude? The directions down say solve the equation. All right? So what if I give you something like this? Do you remember that I have to get the absolute value by itself? How?
Subtract 8 and divide by 5.
Subtract 8, divide by 5. So 5 times the absolute value of 2x plus 1 equals 15. The absolute value of 2x plus 1 equals 3. What are my two possibilities? 2x plus 1 equals 3. What's my second one? 2x plus 1 equals negative 3. Now I solve each one of those equations. The one on the left, can I subtract 1? So 2x equals 2, x equals 1. Over here, I subtract 1, 2x equals negative 4, x equals negative 2. Right? Everybody's okay with that? So what if I give you a harder one? Well, I'm going to, so would you like an example? The absolute value of 5 minus x is equal to the absolute value of 3x plus 1. When I have two absolute values equal to each other, the first time I write it with no absolute value, don't I? So 5 minus x equals 3x plus 1. The second time I write it, I make the absolute value on the right all negative, don't I? Or change all the signs. So 5 minus x equals negative 3x minus 1. So here, what do? Can I do two steps at once? Is that right? So can I add x and subtract 1? Is that all right with you all? So 4 equals 4x. What is x? 1. Over here, can I add 3x and subtract 5? So 2x equals negative 6. X equals negative 3. You know what's really weird? Is I made both of those up and they both came out pretty numbers, no weird fractions. That's just luck. That is just pure luck. Okay, so what if I have something like this? How do I solve this? Square both sides?
Yes.
So 2x plus 2 equals 64. 2x equals 62. X equals 31.
Easy enough.
Do I have to check it?
Yes.
Yes, why?
Because it's your.
Because I squared both sides. Because I squared both sides. Right. All right, now we are solving inequalities. What's the difference? Less than or greater than? You all know how to do these? Okay. Do you think to solve this, I should first get rid of all my parentheses?
I do.
Okay. So I have 6x plus 2 minus 4x is greater than 2x plus 16 minus 5. Right? Okay? So 2x plus 2 is greater than 2x plus 11. Know what? Really? Why?
Because if you subtract 2x, you get 2.
I get 2 is greater than 11, which is not true. If it had been true, what would my answer have been? All numbers. Negative infinity to infinity. Right? Everybody's okay with that? All right. Let's go to absolute value. All right. Okay. Before I can decide if it's an and or an or, what do I have to do? Absolute value by itself, which I get there by,
Subtract 8.
no, I don't want to subtract 8.
Add 8.
Add 8. So 2 times the absolute value of x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 18. The absolute value of x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 9. And or. Or. So x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 9. Or x plus 2 is less than or equal to negative 9. So x is greater than or equal to 7. Or x is less than or equal to negative 11. How do I write this in interval notation? Negative infinity to negative 11 bracket, then
I was going to say, I wish mine was as good as that.
is that right? Are you all with me on this? An equal to gets a bracket. A less than or greater than just gets a bracket. Let's do a hard one. All right? Harder, maybe I should say. All right. What do I have to do? And what happens when I divide by negative 3? Less than or equal to 7? So what does that make this one? And or? And. So 2x plus 1 is less than or equal to 7. Bless you. And 2x plus 1 is greater than or equal to negative 7. You all know how to do this?
Yes.
Of course. Okay, good. So 2x is less than or equal to 6. X is less than or equal to 3. Right? And over here, 2x is greater than or equal to negative 8. X is greater than or equal to, so what is my answer? Bracket -4 to 3, right? You'll agree with this? That's what's on the test.